standing next to each other is because they both talk like freaking idiots. Hey, what's up you guys, Shortimus Prime here, doing another Marvel Minimates figure review set on the Marvel Minimates Age of Ultron 4-pack. This pack includes Conqueror Ultron, Age of Ultron Nick Fury, Age of Ultron Iron Man, and Age of Ultron Angela. Gotta give a big thanks to Diamond Select Toys for making this review possible. If you're trying to get this figure set, you can get it either at your local comic book shop or Big Bad Toy Store.
Big! Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
So pretty cool looking packaging. We have this big picture of Ultron right over there, and then we have the side of the packaging showing all 4 characters that come into this box set. Angela is very interesting. She was originally from Image Comics but then brought into this universe. Then here's 4 of the figures on the back, and then there's a little bio, and it says the evil android Ultron has taken over Earth from his home in the distant future, and Iron Man, Nick Fury, and the rest of Earth's heroes must travel through time to defeat him. But their history-changing mission also affects the fabric of reality, and a heavenly warrior named Angela Hellfine is pulled into their universe. There's the characters again on this side over here. I'm curious to see how these figures look out of packaging. Let's crack this thing open. So here's all 4 figures out of the packaging, and I have to say this is a pretty cool looking set. I'm not the biggest fan of the Age of Ultron story though. It was pretty confusing and just a lot of time jumping kind of stuff going on. Very typical, you know, we gotta kill Hank Pym before he creates Ultron kind of thing. That's what I remember from it anyway. But all 4 figures come with their own little display stands right here. So they're these little clear stands, so we get 4 of these in the packaging. And then let's go over each of these individually. So let's start with Nick Fury. So this Nick Fury figure looks very cool. I like his little display base with the flame effect. Reminds me of the Series 5 Marvel Legends Nick Fury. So you can take this apart, and this comes in the package in 2 pieces. I like how it has this nice shading right here. The orange gets a little darker right there at the bottom. And you can display it either way, having it attached to the jetpack, like with the flame inward or outward. But of course, he just balances a bit better with the flame facing inward like that. And I like the clean silver paint applications on this jetpack. It looks pretty good, not too bad. He has this hole over here, and I don't know exactly what that is for. He does have this peg sticking out of his gun right here. This looks like a kind of like a future rifle. It looks like the same kind of design that we got like from Forge, I think, from the Marvel Legends 2-pack Forge. But anyway, this doesn't really plug in over here, and I think that's what it's for. I can't really figure it out, man. I don't know, but it doesn't really plug in. So, and there's no real other spot to hold this thing if you don't want it in his hand. Then he has his handgun over here, which doesn't really fit in the holster right, I think. You know, I have it upside down over here, but I think it's supposed to go the other way, but it doesn't really work trying to put it in here. Let's see. I guess it kind of, yeah, it just doesn't seem right over here, so that's why I put it in there upside down. But the gun itself looks pretty cool, and I like the paint applications, and the sculpting's pretty nice. Nothing to really complain about aside for the way it fits into the holster over there. And then we have the head sculpt of David Hasselhoff himself. I know it's not David Hasselhoff, but look at that. That's a pretty cool looking Nick Fury. Look at that 5 o'clock shadow. That's awesome. And that hair looks really cool too. There's no real paint shading on it, but the sculpting's pretty nice. And we have the white right there at the bottom as it should have. And you can make him bald if you want to. Wow, so a white bald Nick Fury. Yeah, you can do that, I guess. His jacket looks pretty good. I like how the pockets came out on this thing. You have a shield logo right over there, a shield logo on his arms. Then you could remove his head and then pop that jacket off completely. The jetpack is attached to his jacket. Then his shirt over here has a shield logo, and they have the lines painted on and everything. So that's pretty nice. Belt buckle looks pretty good. Some nice detail right there in the belt going all around. We have these drawn on shoelaces over here, and then he has peg holes at the bottom of each foot. Now I'm going to go over the articulation on just this Nick Fury figure over here. As all Minimates, the articulation is more or less exactly the same on each figure. So his head's on a ball peg. It can move down a little bit, it can move up a little bit, and you can rotate his head side to side, and it can pivot. He has shoulders that move outward, forward, single jointed elbow, and the wrists move side to side, and he has a waist swivel, and legs can be moved outward just a little bit, just by that much, and move forward reasonable amount. There's no real thigh rotation, but you can get it to move on that ball peg a little bit, and the foot actually does rotate side to side perfectly fine. And then here we have Iron Man in his zero gravity suit. This looks very cool. I really like the paint applications on this. I mean, they really went all out with this thing. I think this is really nice. Now the sculpting isn't too crazy. The helmet sculpt is pretty impressive, I think, anyway. We have these little lines right here on the sides, and the mask came out really cool. The chin's sculpted in there, and these lines right there in the back. We have a little bit of a gold paint splotch right there, but not that big of a deal. Looks very cool. And then these lines right here, I like how the blue came out. And then there's also this gunmetal paint right over here on the back, right there on the side. Looks pretty good. I like how this looks, man. Very, very shiny looking Iron Man. And you can pop the head off too, or remove the mask. And there it is. That's how it actually looks in the packaging. So it shouldn't be a surprise. But yep, there we go. We got Tony Stark right there. We got these nice blue lines once again. Looks very cool. Then we have Angela over here, who had made the jump from Image Comics into Marvel Comics through this story arc, which I think is pretty crazy. But anyway, this is a very cool looking figure, and the character is smoking hot, man. But, you know, Minimates with their blocky format over here, they don't really, you know, it's like she's got no curves, but, you know, it's just a square over here, but they drew the curves on there anyway. I think is really funny how they did that. They did that with the Elektra figure too. But I really like this figure a lot. I think they added a lot of detail to it. The paint applications are beautiful. Just a lot of gold and silver paint on here, and this red on the forearm. This looks really clean, looks very good. We have this purple right there, drawn on right there on the thigh. This little ribbon hanging right here. Look at the sheath for her sword. I really like this a lot. That looks great. And I like how she has her little, I don't know, her little skirt piece that hangs down over here. This is made out of very stiff material, so you can't really bend it around or anything like that. And then here's a look at her sword. A pretty standard looking sword. Nothing to gripe about. Looks pretty good to me. And then you can put it in the sheath over here if you want to, so that works out pretty well. And then her hair looks pretty nice, no paint shading or anything on it, and her little gold wings look pretty good. If you want to make her bald, oh no, she's bald, but you know, you can see the mask right there. That looks pretty nice. I think they did a really good job. They got her little red lips. Like this little shoulder piece right over here with the silver and gold. I really like how they have these lines painted right here on the arm. A lot of paint detail on this one. A lot of detailed work on this. I really like how this one came out a lot. Even the belt has this little slant because it like kind of hangs over her hip all sexy like, and they got that down pretty well. So a really good job on this Angela figure. And then finally we have our 6-armed Ultron over here. Very, very cool. Now the articulation on all 6 of these arms is the same as the articulation on a single arm on an average Minimate, so that's very cool that they have all the articulation over here. This is very, very neat looking. I really like this dark silver paint over here, and then the face sculpt looks really nice too. I think this is dope. That's pretty awesome. Even have that little glowing effect in the center of his mouth, so you could do one of his face blasts, or that doesn't sound right, a breath blast, I don't know. And you could remove his helmet or his face, and then you could see it just glowing red like that, which is kind of neat. I don't remember exactly when this happened in the comic. You know, the comic was about a year ago, came out about a year ago anyway, and I don't really remember seeing this, but I think it looks really cool. So you have that white paint over the clear translucent red plastic. Looking pretty nice, doesn't look too bad. And I like the detailed circles all over here. This looks very nice. I like this a lot. So the paint applications came out very, very clean. A lot of these are pretty small, you know, these little holes are pretty small, and I'm not seeing any weird blotches or anything like that. Nice little detail right here sculpted on the back. I think this looks great, man. The gloves, well, not the gloves, but the forearm sections and everything look very cool. You can actually kind of remove those, but you get nothing underneath when you do that. So yeah, I think that's very cool. Now another thing you could do here, which I really like a lot, is that you can remove the head right over here. Shut up, guinea pigs. And then you can remove his actual 6-arm section right there and push this down, and then put this right back onto the waist, and then attach the head again, and you have yourself a regular looking Ultron over there with, I don't know, a weird waist section. But regardless, I mean, you know, he only has 2 arms, and they did paint this section up right here on his torso, and I think that came out looking pretty good, you know. So I really like that they added that feature to it. I think it looks pretty cool like that too. And they have some nice detail on the legs also. I really like the way the legs came out on this thing. Again, I really like this detail with the red circles and everything sculpted in, painted cleanly right there on the legs. I think that looks very nice. And then these little spikes in his 2 toes right there look very, very clean. I really like the detail on this little figure a lot. So here's all 4 figures standing side by side, and I think they work in pretty good scale together. Nick Fury obviously being the shortest one, then Iron Man, Angela being the second tallest, and then obviously Ultron being the tallest one by far. So the height on these guys measures out to be, we're looking at 3 inches for Ultron, 2.5 for Angela, and then just under 2.5 for Iron Man and Nick Fury. So again, I think this is a very cool set. Minimates doing a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of detail in these really simple looking figures that are deceptively simple, not simple at all. One thing I forgot to mention though is that the Ultron ankle does not have a swivel. Unlike the other figures, they all have a swivel at the ankle, but the Ultron figure does not. So I didn't mention that earlier. But anyway, I hope you guys liked my video. Thanks again to Diamond Select Toys for making the review possible. Please check out marvelousnews.com for a gallery of images that are taken throughout the review. Also, hit the like button if you liked the video, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Excuse me.